So this right here, this little bit of news that we got this week may well have been the real reason behind Meredith's meeting with King Charles's aide, Tobyn, last month. And if so, it just proves how over the top the media really was. Just like we thought here on this channel, we were talking about that the media has run away with this and that there's no peace summit happening. It was not a peace summit. It was obviously something much more chill and unimportant than peace summit. But, of course, the media frenzy was peace summit here, peace summit everywhere. We have more context now. It has been revealed that Prince Harry has shared his diary with the royal family, his calendar, his schedule of engagements, which, let's be real here, just as we cannot say Harry's staff are his household, we cannot say that his paid-to-appear arrangements or meetings are engagements, which implies a sort of formality associated with the royal family. So meetings, jobs, frivolities, that's what Harry has on his schedule, in all actuality. Engagements, not so much. Since it has come out that Harry shared his calendar with the royal family, there has been mixed reactions. But also, it's important to acknowledge that this was likely all that the aides met about back in July. Meredith came to give Tobyn Harry's calendar, or perhaps provide some means of communicating his schedule going forward. That's what that meeting was about. That's all it was, if we're connecting the dots properly. There was no major peace summit. The media took it out of context. Shocker. It was truly just a meeting about schedules, upcoming events, including Invictus, for example, for Harry. The media and commentary has mostly revolved around the actual revelation that Harry graciously shared his calendar with the royals so as to not have scheduling conflicts in the future as an attempt to reduce tensions and demonstrate a willingness to cooperate. Well, isn't that special? Harry has decided that he is willing to be cooperative with the people whom he has attacked and badgered and villainized for years. After being incredibly uncooperative for the better part of a decade, maybe longer. Now he's ready. People high in narcissism often do this. They're incredibly challenging to deal with. They're disruptive to our lives. They are uncooperative. They're difficult. They make everything into a mess when it doesn't need to be, and so we back away from them. We limit interactions. Sometimes people use the gray rock method or just completely step away and stop talking to the person altogether. Whatever it is, you put distance between yourself and that person because you will know no peace until you do. But then, as soon as they are ready to be nice or normal or cooperative or helpful or whatever, they expect you to be there waiting. To be ready the second they're ready. To be ready because they're ready. Completely oblivious to the fact that the world doesn't revolve around them and that the people that they've treated horribly may not actually be ready to deal with them the second they decide to reach out or fling an olive branch across the Atlantic. It's literal insanity, but it is a very common pattern in toxic people. As soon as they get their shit together, they're like, hey, let's be normal. And you're like, hold your horses. What is happening? I cannot trust this situation. Alex says, the household thing also reminds me of the latest news that Harry is willing to share his official diary with the royal family so as to avoid clashes, though he will not move his events, so presumably he expects the royal family to. And I thought Harry doesn't have an official diary because he doesn't hold any office. He's just a guy. Exactly. He's just a guy. There is no official diary to be had, just like there are no official statements from the office of the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. That doesn't exist anymore. Rocket Mom says the king needs to remember 4 things. First, it was Harry who chose to quit his royal duties. Second, it was Harry who showed zero loyalty to his father and the rest of the family, saying horrible things about his father, his stepmother, and his brother, and sister-in-law. And third, it is William who has shown steadfast loyalty to the monarchy and his father. And fourth, the king needs to remember exactly why he felt the need to refuse Harry's calls and understand that Harry will never change. Hopefully the king will not confuse his duty to the country and loyalty to his first son with his desire to make up with his younger son. I have confidence in King Charles. I think that he seems to be careful. But I do think it's important to remind yourself when things like this happen, it can be a little confusing when somebody who's pretty toxic starts to come at you in a different type of way. It can be confusing because you don't want to be a dick. You're not trying to be rude and uncooperative, but there's red flags and you can't ignore the history of the situation. That's really important to remember. Patterns of past behavior are good predictors of future behavior, and it will take people time to come around to it. But that's the thing narcissists don't get, that they need to give people time to come around to it. But this is just ridiculous and insulting on so many levels that Harry's like, oh, I'm going to give you my calendar now. Most obviously is, like that commentator said, Harry's just a guy now. And Meg is just a day-drinking wannabe. Neither of them have any official capacity or general importance. That sounds harsh, but the reality of the situation is that they're just private individuals floating about on their own. The royals, however, work for the monarchy, which does take on diplomatic roles and serves the UK and Commonwealth. They have serious work, engagements scheduled sometimes years in advance, almost all months in advance, and cannot easily be changed. An institution of this size and significance being given a trivial calendar of heralds is a hilarious situation. What do they care what Harry's schedule is? They couldn't rearrange to avoid conflicting dates even if they wanted to. In a scenario like this, the proper etiquette is whomever has the more complex calendar, the greater number of people, be it staff, security, employees, whatever, and the greater number of moving parts, the larger of the group or institutions in question shall take priority in scheduling. Therefore, it would be up to Harry to reschedule anything that he has on his calendar that happens to coincide with the royals, not the other way around. But that would require the royals to divulge their schedules to Harry, and that would not be advisable, for lots of reasons. So it came across as quite self-important to many people. Royal watchers, commentators, general public are like, what is Harry thinking? What is he talking about? But regardless, it's difficult to believe the reports that Harry's act of providing his access to his calendar has anything to do with being transparent and open and communicative or cooperative in any way, shape, or form. It's hard to believe that. I am not convinced that it was just some good faith effort from Harry. Could he not think of anything more significant or better to do to try to reach out? Like, here's my calendar seems like not the smartest move if what you're trying to do is take a step forward and, give an olive branch, like they say. That just seems like an odd choice. But also, it seems a little bit like a opening to manipulate. Because he and the Meg have such a long, storied history of trying to steal the limelight, overshadow people, often unsuccessfully, and ride the coattails of the royals. Meghan simply doesn't grasp the concept that giving her announcements their own day allows for a greater media impact. She often piles on multiple things at once, like when she did announce that there was wine for sale, she herself overshadowed that information with another post. Or when there is something going on with the royal family, she makes a post or an announcement on that same day. It actually ends up overshadowing her post and making her look like a petty weirdo for releasing something on that specific day. It doesn't boost exposure like she thinks it does. So let's take a little brief look at this pattern of behavior to really explain why, as far as we know, the royals have not extended access to their diaries back to Harold and the Meg. They have not reciprocated, as far as we know. Way back in October 2018, at Princess Eugenie's wedding, Meghan and Harry revealed that they were expecting their first child. They were like 2 minutes pregnant at the time. They had just found out. There was no baby bump. There was no reason to upstage her big day or try to upstage it. Surely it didn't actually upstage anything. But according to this source, Eugenie told her friends that she felt the couple should have waited to tell people they were pregnant for a different day. And typically, unless it's like your super tight, close group of friends or family that are like super close and tight, it's advisable to wait till 3 months. And Archie was born in May. I had a May baby. That means at that time she was not there yet. She wasn't to the 3-month mark yet. So there was no reason to be telling anybody except to upstage or try to upstage. The very next year, May 2019, Harry and Meghan released unseen wedding photos early in the morning on their first wedding anniversary. Kensington Palace had scheduled Catherine's Chelsea Garden project publicity for that same day. It was known by the royals that Catherine had designed a Chelsea flower show garden and was sharing the news and having some press that specific day. And so for Harry and Meghan to put the photos out first thing in the morning before Catherine's event felt like a weird coincidence. In January 2020, they announced Megxit and their resignation of sorts from the royal family one day before Catherine, Princess of Wales' birthday, which was January 9th. They announced it on January 8th. Critics claimed that it was to dilute the birthday coverage or to take a little shine off or even just completely push the birthday coverage out of the press. April 2020, one day after the Queen's historic COVID-19 broadcast, the Sussexes gave an interview announcing their not-for-profit foundation, Archewell, diverting press attention from the monarch's message and to themselves. And Archewell does pretty much nothing, so it didn't even matter anyway. In June and August of 2019, Catherine and William launched a baby initiative and they toured Wales. But the very next day, Harry published a commentary in Fast Company criticizing social media. And critics saw this as a calculated overshadow of her visit. In March 2021, the Oprah interview aired immediately following the Queen's Commonwealth Day address, leading commentators to note the clash of major royal event, which was horrible timing for more reasons than just that. It was also as Prince Philip was, in hospital and he passed away shortly thereafter. In March 2024, on the same evening that Prince William was presenting the Diana Legacy Awards, Meghan launched her lifestyle brand, American Riviera Orchard Montecito, which wasn't really launching it, it was just a post to Instagram, which made the timing feel very suspicious as an attempt to upstage William's tribute to Diana, because also it was a ridiculous Instagram post with no substance behind it. A portrait of Prince George was posted to royal social media to celebrate his birthday, and Harry announced that Birmingham would host the Invictus Games in 2027, immediately following that. Shortly after, Catherine, Princess of Wales, posted her cancer journey video message. Netflix released the trailer for Polo, and many felt that the timing was an attempt to distract from Catherine's message. On King Charles's birthday parade, both in 2024 and 2025, the Trooping the Color event, Meghan sent product launches and brand promotion through American Riviera Orchard Montecito, and then As Ever, and made social media posts on the same day referencing her brand, which once again felt like it was another conspicuous choice of date and timing. And that's not a comprehensive list. That's just a handful of moments where they clearly chose bad timing, to say the least, which only proves that there's a very slim chance that each and every time that this happened, it was just a coincidence. This from Meghan, who copies Princess Diana and wants people to think that that's just a coincidence. None of it's a coincidence. When you have a pattern this long-standing, it's clearly intentional because the odds just are not in the Sussexes' favor here. The smart PR approach for their public image would have been to purposefully, intentionally try super hard to avoid calendar clashes with the royal family from the start, intentionally avoiding coinciding any sort of social post or event or outing, anything like that, with the royals' calendar, because it would have prevented them from looking like they're trying to compete with the royal family. Because they have established this pattern, it makes people think, and it makes them be perceived as people who are trying to compete with the royals, which you just can't really do, but also it makes them look petty and weird. What a weird thing to do, especially on like a child's birthday, for example. So a lot of people think the Sussexes, in their increasing desperation, wanted to find a way to get more information from the royals. They thought if they shared their calendar, the royals would share back, and then the Sussexes could pattern their schedule to be even more aggressive towards the royals, or perhaps just some of the royals, like Catherine, who Meghan seems to ruthlessly target more than any other royal. Harry offering to share his schedule with the royal family is only for show. It's him trying to say, see, I'm being so generous, and you're still refusing to cooperate by not giving me the same police police protection as William. It's also a good excuse for when they accidentally, on purpose, release some new project they're doing at the same time that the royal family is in the news, especially when it's around birthdays or anything that they can plan in advance, and make it the royal family's fault for coinciding because now they know his schedule and could have just moved the Queen's birthday or something. Honestly, I'd wish him and Meg well, but only if they just went away, never to be heard from again, as they promised 5 years ago. This is a good point. Harry tends to manipulate things a lot, especially with the media. If there's one element of something that he doesn't feel went his way or to his liking, he puts out a statement that manipulates the situation and makes it seem completely out of context and like there's something else entirely going on. It's really ridiculous. He has a long-standing pattern of it. If he's offered a place to stay on palace grounds and he doesn't want to take it or whatever, for whatever reason, he tells the media that King Charles was too busy to see him. Super bizarre behavior. So I could totally see them using this as a tactic in some way, shape, or form to manipulate narratives, just as you said, that, oh, well, now I should get the same security protection that I want because you know my schedule in advance. And if you don't move your schedule around mine, then it's you trying to overshadow me. The ego on Harry is out of control. It's insane. Diana thinks that they want to share their diaries, so the royals will share theirs in return, makes stalking and harassing much easier. Harold decided to offer his schedule to the palace. Who cares? The royal schedule is decided years in advance, and nothing the royals are doing would change because of what Harry might do. Every single time he tries to make himself important, it only underscores how irrelevant he's become. His household. Give me a break. He's not royal by his own choice. The royal family in the UK moved on 5 years ago, not looking back. It's true, it does seem like he thinks he's a little bit more important than he is to be being like, here's my schedule. You should make sure you don't coincide. Music Mad says, so my take is that they had a meeting and the palace said stop competing with us, so now the headlines say Saint Harry is offering his schedule despite not doing this for 5+ years. It's like Harry's initiative, just like Invictus. Maybe, yes, but I also think that there isn't much competition and it makes Harry and Meghan look petty and small when they do these things in the media, and people have been calling them out about it a lot this last year or so. Mainstream media even are like, what are the odds that you would be posting this or announcing this on this day? Suspicious, weird. Even mainstream media, not just royal commentators and whatnot. So I think that it's definitely the secret, the cat's out of the bag. People know Harry and Meghan's tricks and games and aren't falling for it anymore. So I don't think the palace would need to say, hey, Harry, Meghan, stop competing with us, because they're not really competing, at least not very well, not successfully. But what do you think the more likely reason is for Harry opening his calendar to the royals? Leave your thoughts in the comments, and if you enjoyed today's video, do please consider clicking the like button and subscribing if you would like to. If you subscribe, it's totally free, and it makes sure that you do not miss any upcoming videos. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you have a happy day ahead. I'll see you next time. Bye!